Dun dun dun. Yep, it's a new video from the Rusty Beauty's garage. So welcome to the Rusty Beauty's garage. So there's a new video about this TR6 that we started a video about, but we haven't finished it yet. Well, for you it's probably finished. You've probably seen already the top installed, and you can tell me whether it looks good or not. I can't because the top is still not installed. So what happened was, actually I'm gonna go even further back. So we have this midget that I started working on, doing the clutch. So we took out the engine and figured out that the clutch needs to be replaced. We ordered the parts and we're waiting for them to come. And while we're waiting for the parts for this midget, we started working on this TR6, and we installed the soft top frame and we lined it up, installed all the seals and everything, but we figured that we don't have the new webbing that goes from there to there. So we have the old one, which is not in a bad shape, it was just faded, and we painted it. Actually, Rusty is guarding it over there. Keep it safe, okay? Rusty, are you keeping it safe? Sure. So the webbing is patent over there, but I asked the owner, I messaged the owner, and I asked him if he is okay with me doing that, or he has new webbing somewhere, or he wants to order new webbing, or whatever he wants to do. So while we're waiting for response from him, we're gonna start installing the windshield. So not one, but two videos are on pause, and we start a third one now. So windshield installation, it scares people to death, right? Because they are afraid that the windshield might crack, and it is possible. I cracked two in my life. One I cracked when I was removing it, and I cracked another one when I was installing it. So it is possible to crack it, but the scary part is not when you're banging on it and you're hammering it with the rubber mallet. You'll see we do all that. That's not scary. It's scary when you twist it. And that's what happened when I cracked the second one. It was in on one side, and on this side in the corner didn't want to go in, and I was poking it with a plastic stick and whatever. I was doing things that I normally don't do because the cable was coming out. I don't know what I was doing, but I was poking it with this plastic stick, and I was literally wedging my plastic stick inside and twisting on it, and then it went and cracked. So that's the scary part. When you twist it, it has a certain shape, and when you try to take it off that shape, that's when it cracks. When you're hammering it and when you're pushing it down, when you bang here, for example, sometimes I bang here, or I bang with my palm to push it down, that's not so scary because it is solid in this direction. It is fragile when you twist it. So anyways, here at the table we have everything that we might need, and that involves the gasket, the windshield, the trim, the chrome trim, which is also locking it, a lock trim, and tools that we're gonna use are rope or cable, one or the other. I think I'm gonna use this cable, this wire, which is, I believe, 10 gauge wire. It's pretty thick. I used to use rope, but it has too much friction. The cable, especially when you use some soap water, which we also have here, it is so nice and smooth when you're pulling it. It almost doesn't have any friction between the rubber and the cable. So I believe this is what we're gonna use. But recently, the last 2 or 3 times when I was installing windshields, I had huge problems with the gasket. So the problem is not installing the windshield and the gasket on the frame. The problem is installing the gasket on the windshield. So that has never been a problem for me before. Like, I installed 10, 15, 20, I don't know how many before. But the last 2 or 3, I had huge problems with the gasket because the gasket was super stiff. This seems to be a little bit softer, but we will see. So when I had those stiff gaskets, the problem was I put it one end in, and by the time I put the other end in, this side was coming off. So I had to put one corner, 2 corners, and then take a rope and wrap it around, and then push a little bit more on the gasket here, push a little bit more here, and then wrap one more time with the rope, and that's how I reached till the other end and I put it. But believe me, it took me probably 2 hours for each windshield to install the gasket on the windshield, and then probably 20 minutes to install the windshield with the gasket on the frame. So hopefully this time that's not gonna be a problem. Anyways, I know that I have 2 or 3 videos of me installing windshield gaskets on my channel, but maybe it's time for a new one because we have new members in the Rusty Beauties community and maybe they haven't seen those videos. So here's a video for you guys. Alright, so the windshield is unpacked. Now we have to figure out this gasket, what it's in and when it's out, right? You see here, when you open these 2 lips, this, what should I call it, like this corner inside, this part inside is what fits inside this groove. So one part fits inside like this, then you see this part fits right inside the groove, and then the other lip goes over, and this is where the glass fits, and this is where the chrome trim fits after. All we care about right now is the glass, so the glass fits in this groove here. So here there is a seam. This seam I normally always actually put at the bottom center, so like this, but this is the outside, right? This is where the glass fits, so this is the outside, so it needs to be like that. Okay. Alright, I actually had it the right way and I flipped it the wrong way. But anyways, it took me multiple tries. I started it so many times and every time it came off, I just got annoyed with it. But eventually at some point I figured out also that I was doing it the wrong side up. I'm trying to avoid using soap for now because I don't want to become too slippery. I want once it's in to stay in. If it's soapy, it's gonna start coming out. So I kept trying and it kept coming off, and at some point I even tried to use the packing tape that the windshield came wrapped in because it was pretty solid and I wasn't leaving marks, but that didn't work as well. So then I tried my rope trick. That wasn't very helpful either. So finally I decided to use duct tape, and that worked pretty well, but it left so much residue on the glass, so I had to spend a lot of time after that cleaning it, but it worked. Alright, it's in, like it's really hard and it's not staying very well, so even though this gasket seems to be a little bit, oh my god, the kids are home and he's so excited. Anyway, even though this gasket seems to be a little bit more pliable, still it is so hard to keep there. It tries to come out, so now I have to put the cable inside this groove here, which goes into the windshield frame, but I don't know how that's gonna happen with all the tape here. I never had to use tape before. Anyway, I'll see. All right, so the cable is inside the groove and staying there. The gasket somehow stays for now where it's supposed to be, even though it's coming a little bit out here and there. But we're gonna have to remove that tape anyways. We can't work with the tape on because we won't be able to take it off after. Anyways, I'm gonna remove these 3 pieces, this and this, so I can put it in. Now when we are putting it in, we are aiming at putting it right into the groove at the bottom. This lip here I'm talking about, we're gonna try to put it straight into the groove. Maybe it's gonna fit, maybe it's gonna need a little bit of pulling, but normally the part for the bottom is pretty easy as long as the gasket stays in place, because if the gasket starts coming off, it's gonna be disaster. But anyways, so let me set you on the tripod and we're gonna try. So you see how this lip goes inside. So what I did with the plastic stick is I pulled it out so the windshield together with the gasket can go further in. And in the meantime, here you see in some areas this lip of the rubber is over the metal, but in some areas it's still outside. So we need to make sure that when we're pulling out the wire, we are pushing down on the windshield as well. So once the wire pulls out the rubber on this side of the metal lip, the windshield should go down and it stays down. I still don't have soap on it. I don't want to make it too slippery. Later we're gonna put soap water. So you see how I'm pulling the lip out, and it's supposed to come on this side of the metal. It's hard to start, you know. Once it starts, it's gonna be fine. So the thing is, I'm like pushing really hard down. Just want to make sure that the lip is on the right side, that the rubber is on the inside of the metal lip, which it is. Okay, that's good. So again, it's a good thing that the thing is convertible, so I can push really hard down on the glass. And I'm watching. If the lip tucks on the outside of the metal, I have to stop and make sure that I pull it out. Now here the corner is tricky, so I'm gonna leave it for now. I'm gonna come this side and push it all the way. Okay, maybe this is a good time to see how the wire works. So you see here the rubber is on the outside of the metal, but as we're pulling the wire, it pulls it on the inside, you see? So again, I'm still not using soap, because if I have soap in this moment, everything is going to be too slippery and it's going to start coming out. But now that the whole bottom end is in, let's do the other side actually. Okay, so once the bottom end is in, we're gonna introduce the soap. See here, now if we pull too hard on the wire, we might rip the rubber. So again, pushing down on the window so it doesn't come out. And now we're gonna remove the tape. Okay, now we're gonna introduce the water inside the rubber. So that's soapy water, that's what it is. But we want to be a little bit more slippery here. Again, pushing on the windshield down and pulling the rubber on the inside of this clip. Now we're gonna go do the same on the other side. Okay. Again, pushing down, that's really important, because if you don't push down, it might come out from the bottom, and you don't want that, right? Here the gasket came out of the windshield. Okay. See, I missed here. So now I have to make sure that the lip catches with the wire. more soap. Here the corners are really tricky. See, you have to trick it. You can't just pull because you might ruin the gasket, might cut it. So you have to like really trick it like this. Okay. Once you turn the corner, it's relatively easy. So let's do the other corner now. And remember, you have to pull down, to push down all the time. Maybe you have a second person who is pushing down all the time, at all times. That's very important. You see here. Down and in. Okay, we're almost there. Now though, when we turn the corner, the top is going to become really tight. So now is the time to remove the tape from the top. Great that it doesn't have seats yet, because if it has seats, it's going to be harder. And now the rest should be easy. Add a little bit more soap. Okay. My hands hurt. Okay, now push in. Good. And now we have to meet them somewhere in the middle. Why didn't you just meet me in the middle? Oh, all right, it's a few hours later. It's dark outside. It's also a few beers later. So we are back. I just cleaned the residue from the duct tape. Still need to clean the windshield properly at the end, but now we're gonna get it wet again with soap water. So anyways, here is the trim. So let me open it and show you what it is. So you need the trim and a little finisher. So that's a little piece that goes at the end and joins the two ends together. It goes like this, and the other end goes like this, and that's the end of it. Okay, so we're gonna leave it here for now so we don't lose it. We're gonna take our soap water again and let's go to the windshield. So now we can spray soap water inside the channel, and we're gonna start from the bottom center, but we're gonna take this end of the trim, because if we take this end, we're gonna have to make reverse curve. It's already curved, so it's easier if we start with this one. So it has a T-shape, right? So this part goes inside, and you can literally push it in. You don't need to open it with anything. As long as you have soap there, you can just push it in. Once it starts, it's easy. There you go. So I'm gonna push it a little bit past the center. We can always cut it shorter. This is a little bit longer than what you need. You're gonna have to cut it at the end. But as you're pushing it in, it moves. At least that's what happens with me. So I'm putting it a little bit past the center, and I'm just putting it on top of the channel, and I'm hammering it in. And you see now, of course, it didn't move, so I'm gonna pull it a little bit so I don't need to cut it. No, because I said it, it didn't move. Anyway. As long as it has soap inside and as long as you are putting it right on top of the channel, when you hammer it, it goes in no problem. And you see how the curve just follows naturally the curve of the windscreen. It's a little bit harder on the turns sometimes. Okay, have to spray there too. So when you get to this point, you can just cut it with scissors. Now we can put our end here. That and now we can slide it over. And that's it. Windshield installed. And that's it. Windshield installed. You see? And you're scared of it. It's not so scary. So, mosquitoes. So, like I said, the hardest part is to put the gasket on the windshield. And it didn't used to be like that. It used to be, the hardest part was to actually install it on the frame. I don't know what changed with gaskets. I don't know what they're doing. But honestly, it hasn't been so hard for me in the past. So anyways, that's gonna be it for today. I guess it's gonna be a short video, but I wanted to have a new, fresh one on windshield installation. So that's it. Thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing, sharing and supporting the channel. If you're not a supporter, you might consider becoming one. There are multiple ways of supporting this channel. They're described in the description of this video, or you can even buy merchandise, which is also a way to support me. Again, under the video there's a link to the Rusty Beauties merchandise store, so you can consider doing that. Everything helps, even just subscribing and sharing is also a big help, guys. So once again, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.